Someone told me I had cancer. It was such a really scary and awful thing to hear that it was the bad kind, and I felt so alone. Jill Ireland got married to Charles Bronson in 1968 after he straight up told her first husband, "I'm going to marry your wife." But that drama was nothing compared to what happened later. She kept a miscarriage secret while working on a movie set to save a $75,000 for 5-year contract. She kept filming for 6 more weeks even though she was bleeding inside. Then, in 1984, she sat by herself for 10 hours after finding a lump in her breast before she told anybody. What really went down between her and Bronson while she fought cancer even surprised people in Hollywood. Jill Ireland was born on April 24, 1936, in Hounslow, a town in southwest London. Her dad, Jack, imported wine, but right before the war, his business started going downhill. Rules from the war messed up his shipments. Her family lived on Maswell Park Road in a house they called Churchy. But things didn't stay peaceful for long. By the time Jill was 4, German bombs were dropping. The London Blitz was super scary. Between 1940 and 1941, bombs hit the city almost every night. Their house wasn't safe anymore, so Jill, her parents, and thousands of other people spent night after night in cold underground stations. Sometimes they had to stay there for days. During those same years, Jack's business fell apart completely. With no money coming in, her mom, Dorothy, started washing clothes for neighbors just to make a little cash. 6-year-old Jill helped her mom fold and sort the dirty clothes in a house that had cracks in the walls and windows taped up so the glass wouldn't break everywhere. She never complained. She just kept helping. That tough start shaped her. It built something strong inside her that wouldn't give up later in life. In 1943, when she turned 7, Jill started ballet lessons at the Royal Academy of Dancing in London. The war was still going on. Air raid sirens still screamed in the sky. She and the other girls often had to rush to bunkers right in the middle of class. Her mom paid 2 shillings and 6 pence every week for the lessons, which would be like $50 today. That was almost 15% of what the family made. But Jill was really talented. She had a natural grace that people noticed right away. She danced the main roles in local shows of the Nutcracker and Swan Lake. In 1944, when London got hit by V-1 flying bombs, something amazing happened. During a Christmas show, the sirens went off and the audience ran to shelter. But Jill didn't stop. 8 years old, all alone on stage, she finished her solo dance. The teachers said they had never seen a kid so determined. By the time she was 10, she was already 4 feet 8 inches tall. That was seen as too tall for classic ballet, and people warned her she might not make it, but she didn't care. She started practicing 4 to 5 hours every day in their small house, even with bombs still falling far away. In February 1948, at exactly 12 years old, Jill joined a touring ballet company. She made $5 a week, more than her dad ever earned after the war. But that chance turned bad fast. The company's 45-year-old director, Maurice Thornton, started calling her to his office for private rehearsals. He made her feel uncomfortable, then did wrong things, then became dangerous. One night, after a show in Manchester, he locked her in a dressing room and tried to force himself on her. Jill got away by crawling out a small window, cutting her leg on broken glass. She ran. When her mom reported it, the company threatened them. They said if she talked about it, Jill would never dance in Britain again. So she quit. For 6 months, she stayed home. She had nightmares. She didn't want to be alone with any man. That early baze, the experience stayed with her forever. But it also made her understand how dangerous the world could be, especially for young girls. Later, when she got famous, she was known for strongly protecting child actors. By 1951, Jill was 15 and joined the Corona Theatre School in London. She was now 5 feet 7 inches tall and got teased a lot. The shorter girls called her names like Giraffe Girl and Freak Show. The teachers weren't nice either. Some told her that girls taller than 5 feet 5 would never succeed in British movies. She didn't fight back. She just started sneaking out of school to hang out with older guys. One of them was a 28-year-old married theater director. She was only 16. When her parents found love letters under her mattress, her dad got super mad. He threatened to send her to a convent. One night in 1953, she came home at 3:00 a.m. and tried to climb in her bedroom window. Jack Ireland caught her. He punished her by taking away her makeup and costumes for 3 months. She didn't stop acting out. She smoked behind the school, drank gin she stole from her dad's old bottles, and started skipping classes. Her teachers said her behavior was wild and tough to handle. By the end of 1953, when Jill was 17, her dad's business finally closed for good. The family lost their house and moved to a small apartment in a rough area of West London. Her mom made just $3 a week as a seamstress. Jill had to help. She got a job in a gross cafe in Soho. From 5:00 a.m. to 9:00 a.m., she served food to drunk people and strangers who often bothered her. She got paid just 10 shillings a day, maybe $20 now. Some customers tried to touch her. Others stole from her. She ate only once a day, usually just bread and butter. She lost 20 pounds and once passed out in class from being so hungry. That Christmas, her family couldn't buy food, so Jill stole meat from the cafe. If anyone found out, her acting dreams could have been over before they began, but nobody did. That time stuck with her. She promised herself she'd never be that poor again. In 1955, when she was 19, Jill got her first movie role in O Rosalinda. It wasn't a big part. She was just one of the young dancers, but people noticed her. She had a special spark. That same year, she was in Simon and Laura, then Three Men in a Boat, in 1956. She didn't become famous quick, but she kept going. She took any role she could get, always working, never giving up. On May 11, 1957, she married Scottish actor David McCallum. They met the year before on the movie Hell Drivers. Their relationship was work-related too. They acted together in several things, including The Man from UNCL episodes in 1964 and 1965, and also Robbery Under Arms. Their marriage lasted 10 years. In 1958, they had their first son, Paul McCallum. Jill kept acting during that time, showing up in The Ghost Train Murder and The Desperate Man in 1959. That same year, she played Jill Thompson in Carry On Nurse. The movie was a huge hit. It was the biggest box office success of 1959 in the UK, with over 10.4 million people watching. In the US, it was so popular that it ran for 3 years in some theaters. It had a small budget of $71,000, but earned $2.8 million in rentals. It put her in the spotlight. In 1962, she and McCallum adopted a baby boy named Jason. The adoption went through a private lawyer, but years later, Jill learned the lawyer had lied. Jason's real dad had been a heroin addict who died from an overdose. His grandpa was an alcoholic. Jill thought Jason was born already having addiction in his body. As he got older, Jason had trouble with drugs. In 1989, He died from an overdose at just 27 years old. Paul gave the speech at the funeral. He said Jason once ate his pet caterpillar and used to stroke his head when he had migraines. The family stayed close, even when, and things were falling apart. In 1963, Jill moved to Los Angeles with McCallum for The Man from UNCL. At first, she hated it. One day, she was walking alone when a guy mugged her on Rodeo Drive. He broke her nose, stole her purse with $300 in it, and held a knife to her. She needed surgery and couldn't work for 6 weeks. She never forgot how scared she was that day. That same year, she met Charles Bronson on the set of The Great Escape. Something clicked right away. Bronson told McCallum right to his face, "I'm going to marry your wife." McCallum thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. Jill whispered back, "I'm going to marry your friend." It wasn't just a crush. Bronson sent her flowers every day, wrote her notes, and even got her roles in his movies. By 1965, they were having a secret affair. They met in hotels using fake names. Jill told McCallum she was visiting her sick aunt. In March, a photographer saw them going into a hotel room. They hid for 2 hours in a service elevator. The truth came out in 1967 when McCallum found Bronson's letters in Jill's jewelry box. He read every word. They were very personal. He confronted Jill at a dinner party, then punched a wall and broke 3 bones in his hand. Guests like Robert Vaughn and Stephanie Powers saw it all. The next day, hospital records listed his injury as related to a fight at home. He never pressed charges, but the marriage was done. The divorce almost ruined Jill's career. Tabloids had headlines like "Home Wrecker, Jill steals best friend's husband." She lost $500,000 in contracts. She got blacklisted by studios like Disney and MGM. She received hate mail, over 1,000 letters a week. Some even threatened to kill her. Old friends stopped calling. Courts said she wasn't a good mom and took away her rights to see her sons. She thought about quitting acting for good. Only Bronson talked her into staying. On October 5, 1968, Jill Ireland married Charles Bronson at a nice ceremony in Malibu. What should have been a perfect wedding turned messy when her ex-husband David McCallum showed up with lawyers demanding to see their 3 sons, Paul, Valentine, and Jason. For almost 4 hours, McCallum wouldn't leave the place. Guests whispered in shock as security finally had to make him go. Almost nobody knew that, right around then, Ireland had been secretly seeing filmmaker Michael Winner. Winner later said they were together just days before the wedding, which made everything look extra scandalous, and started a marriage that filled gossip magazines for the next 22 years, until Ireland died in 1990. Only weeks later, the new couple started filming villa rides in Spain. Bronson's jealousy went crazy when he heard Ireland had love scenes with Robert Mitchum. He stormed into the director's trailer, demanded big script changes, and threatened to quit the $2 million movie. The script got changed so much that Ireland's part was cut to just 12 minutes. Cast members said Bronson even grabbed director Buzz Kulik by the collar during one of their big fights. Mitchum later called Bronson's jealousy sick, and the delays cost the studio another $400,000. The next year, while filming Twinkie, Ireland was 16 weeks pregnant and had a miscarriage, but kept it secret to save her $75,000 contract. She worked for 6 more weeks while bleeding inside, took strong painkillers and collapsed twice on set, saying it was just tiredness. She went to hospitals at night using a fake name for blood transfusions and almost died during a stair scene. Only Bronson knew what was really happening. The miscarriage caused problems that lasted and affected her health leading up to her cancer fight. In 1970, the couple adopted a daughter named Zuleika. which started trouble from Bronson's first wife, Harriet Tendler. Tendler, who got $2,500 a month in alimony, sent threatening letters, hired private detectives, and made over 30 threatening calls, some with death threats. Bronson had to get armed guards and move the family to a safe Malibu home. Court battles cost more than $100,000 before a court order stopped the trouble in 1972. While making Cold Sweat that same year, director Terence Young made Ireland do a dangerous underwater escape scene in the Mediterranean without good safety stuff. She was in 52-degree water for over 45 minutes, swallowed water, got pneumonia, and still worked 3 more days. Bronson blamed Young and supposedly punched him in the face. Ireland was in a hospital in France for 12 days with bad lung infections needing new kinds of antibiotics. The problem delayed filming 2 weeks and cost the studio $300,000. Trouble hit again with the Valachi Papers in 1971. Producers wanted a 3-minute nude scene for her character, Maria Valachi. When Bronson heard, he stormed into Dino De Laurentiis' office in Rome and threatened to quit the $2 million movie. Ireland ended up filming the scene in a nightgown, but extra shoots cost $47,000 and delayed the movie 6 days. During The Mechanic in March 1972, while doing a suicide scene that felt like her own sadness after 2 miscarriages, she accidentally took too much Valium and Seconal and had to be rushed to Cedars-Sinai, where she stayed watched for 18 hours. Director Michael Winner, who found her passed out, later said her real pain made the acting feel too real. In Idaho, on September 8, 1975, while filming Breakheart Pass, Ireland's horse tripped on loose rocks at mile marker 47 of the Kamea Prairie Railroad, breaking her left arm bone and bruising her ribs. She hid the injury and took up to 8 Percocet pills a day from a local doctor to keep working. Bronson warned her about getting hooked, but she wanted to finish to protect his $1 million pay. On April 12, 1976, in Tucson, from noon till 3, there was another blow-up. Ireland had to kiss another actor for about 45 seconds. After 3 takes, Bronson stormed off set, disappeared for 2 days using a fake name in Phoenix, and stopped production at a cost of $85,000. Ireland got him to come back by promising to make the scene less intense. In 1979, Love and Bullets became a mess. Ireland wanted her character Jackie Pruitt to live instead of die like in the script. Director John Huston quit in February 1979, giving up his $500,000 pay. Production stopped 8 days, while Stuart Rosenberg and writers fixed 23 pages. The budget went from $7.2 million to $8.9 million, and the movie bombed, its story hurt by the last-minute changes. In 1980, Ireland watched director Michael Winner add a rough gang rape scene to Death Wish 2. The scene took 6 days to film and really upset her. Silvana Gallardo, who played the victim, later said she talked to real survivors to get ready. Roger Ebert called the scene dead and hated how graphic it was. Different countries got edited versions because of the violence. Seeing the filming left deep emotional marks on Ireland. By early 1985, Ireland got a heartbreaking call about Jason. The kid's using needles. He's an addict. She later found out Jason's real dad, not an architect like she was told in the 1962 adoption, but a heroin dealer who died from an overdose, meaning Jason might have been born addicted. Jason first tried drugs at age 7 at a school bus stop, and at age 12, a Rolling Stones bodyguard gave him cocaine. She later called Jason the only real loss among their 7 kids. In 1984, Ireland co-produced The Evil That Men Do under her Zuleika Farms company, staying 6 weeks on location in Mexico. She gave up the female lead role to help Teresa Saldana, who had survived a stabbing in 1982. The shoot was messy, with a director's switch halfway. Her casting director partner, Hilary Holden, died of a heart attack at age 46 on May 13, 1983, leaving a 15-year-old daughter that the Bronsons later adopted. These losses and stresses weighed a lot on Ireland. By 1985, Ireland had been in 14 of Bronson's movies, and only one TV episode, one TV movie, and one theater movie without him. People only saw her as Bronson's wife, and she had to start producing through Zuleika Farms to have some control over her work. On November 7, 1989, Jason McCallum was found dead at age 27 on his bathroom floor in his Hollywood Hills apartment from too many drugs at once. Ireland, fighting cancer again since February 1989 with doctors saying only 2 to 3 years left, rented a plane from Vermont for the funeral at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, where both McCallum and Bronson carried the casket. Jason's real mom, Vicky, put a rose and a rosary on his casket after everyone left. Earlier that year, Ireland had put out lifelines sharing about Jason's addiction and hoping it would stop other kids from the same thing. President Ronald Reagan had given her the American Cancer Society Courage Award in person in the White House Rose Garden on May 12, 1988, for her book Life Wish, calling it a helper for many others feeling alone with serious sickness. She also got the Betty Ford Award from the Susan G. Komen Foundation and spoke to Congress for Medicare to cover mammograms, all while telling Bronson in private therapy about wanting to end it all. Her 1989 memoir, Lifelines, surprised Hollywood with stories of Bronson's angry outbursts, breaking furniture, and the hidden truths about Jason's adoption. She explained how lawyers lied to her and David McCallum in 1962 and thought Ritalin given for Jason's hyperactivity started his addiction. The book also told about her 1987 meeting with Vicky, who shared the truth about Jason's dad's overdose. Through 1989, she spoke at over 50 cancer events, while cancer went to her lungs and bones. She lost 23 pounds, needed IVs between talks, and once passed out on stage, saying it was low blood sugar to keep going. Her speaking fees hit $15,000 per event, making her one of the top paid speakers then. Places were quietly told to have doctors ready. By December 1989, she said no to movie offers worth over $2 million to focus on writing, showing how bad her health was. Bronson shocked people by saying no to Death Wish sequel offers worth $8 million to stay with her. He rubbed her feet every night, cooked her food, handled her meds, and even helped her get dressed. He turned their main bedroom into a hospital room with real medical stuff and learned to give her IVs himself. Ireland said in her last interviews that Bronson would read to her for hours from classic books and kept careful notes on her health, her meds, and her feelings through her final fight. In May 1984, Jill Ireland felt something weird in her right breast while checking at home. She was in their huge 14-bedroom house in Bel Air. The house was full of energy with 7 kids, friends, and family. But for almost 10 hours, she didn't tell anyone, not even her husband, Charles Bronson. She just sat with that scary thought, totally alone. Later, she said nobody could share that moment with her. People thought she hid things, but it was just the shock. She said the only people she knew with cancer had died. That fear stopped her cold. It was just one day, but gossip papers made it sound like months of hiding. When the doctor said it was cancer, it was Bronson who told her. He had already talked to the cancer doctor and the X-ray doctor. It wasn't hidden from him. He was there from the start. When the doctor said she needed surgery fast, Bronson held her hand and didn't let go. He went to every chemo treatment with her. He picked berets that matched her eyes so she could feel pretty even when her hair was falling out. He helped pick her clothes after surgery. He wasn't far away. He was right there. In June 1984, she had a big mastectomy at Cedars-Sinai. They took out her whole right breast and 8 lymph nodes from under her arm. Bronson stayed in the waiting room the whole 4-hour surgery. He didn't eat. He didn't move. After, he helped with her pain meds. He even changed her bandages himself. Nurses said they'd never seen a Hollywood couple like them. Most stars never showed up, but Bronson never left her. During chemo, Jill tried to protect him. She said she felt better than she really did. She didn't want him to see her throwing up every 20 minutes for 6 hours straight. She lost 23 pounds in a few weeks. She was so tired, she couldn't get out of bed. She told him it was just normal tired. She didn't want him to hurt too. But after a few weeks, she told him the real deal. It wasn't hiding. It was caring. She lost 85% of her hair in 6 weeks. She stopped eating. But the press said she was hiding stuff. They never saw the truth. In August 1984, just 3 months after finding out, she stood in front of 47 reporters at the Beverly Hills Hotel and told everyone she had cancer. She said, "I want to share what I'm going through to help other women." But still, headlines said she had a secret cancer fight. The National Enquirer sold 2.3 million copies with her on the cover saying "Secret Agony." Meanwhile, her book Life Wish came out and became a bestseller. By 1987, it had been reprinted 5 times. Readers were surprised to see she had actually shared everything. The truth was the opposite of the headlines. Later that year in October, she had more surgery and 6 weeks of radiation. Bronson made a big choice that shocked people. He canceled movies worth $3 million. He said, "My wife needs me more than your movies need me." Every morning, for 6 weeks, he drove her to Cedars-Sinai, sat in the hall, and waited. Then he brought her home. Studios were mad, but he didn't care. His wife was first. Then, in July 1988, Jill had another press conference. Her cancer had returned. This time, it had spread to her lungs. Doctors gave her 2 to 3 years to live. She stood next to Bronson again, holding his hand. She said it wouldn't be right to hide it from people who read her book or heard her speak. Bronson stayed quiet, but whispered to her when she needed it. He never left her side. In 1989 and 1990, Jill got too sick to do much. That's when Bronson changed a lot. The tough guy from action movies started getting up at 5 a.m. to make her shakes to help with sickness. He cooked every meal. He helped with homework. He changed her meds every 4 hours. He helped her bathe and dress. He called doctors. He ran their horse farm over the phone. Friends and family said they'd never seen this side of him. Not even Jill had before. After 22 years married, he was becoming even more. Her caregiver, her protector, her support. One day, during her toughest chemo times, something sweet happened. Bronson started reading poetry to her. He picked Robert Frost, Maya Angelou. He practiced for hours to read it perfectly. Jill wrote in her journal that his voice reading The Road Not Taken saved her. He even wrote his own poems. One was called Vermont Mornings. She kept it near. In her last hospital days, nurses said he came every morning at 6 a.m. with fresh flowers. He read poetry loud in her room. Sometimes patients nearby cried just hearing him. Together, they did over 200 interviews about cancer bet in 1984 and 1990. Jill went on talk shows even when her hair was gone and she was weak. They talked openly about money, too. They spent more than $500,000 on treatments insurance didn't pay. In 1988, they started the Ireland Bronson Cancer Foundation. It gave $2.3 million to help families who couldn't pay for treatment. Jill said if even one family didn't suffer alone because of them, it was worth all their pain. Jill died on May 18, 1990, in their Malibu home. After she was cremated, Bronson had a walking cane made. Inside it was a hidden spot with some of her ashes. He carried that cane everywhere for 13 years. As he got older and weaker, it was that cane, with her ashes, that helped him walk. When Bronson died on August 30, 2003, at age 81, he was buried in Vermont. The cane went in the coffin with him. They were together again, even after death. Her book, Life Wish, sold over 1 million copies. It became more than a book. It was a message to every woman fighting the same thing. Her second book, Lifelines, talked about her son, Jason's heroin addiction. He died of an overdose on November 7, 1989, just months before she did. He was only 27. Found in his bathroom by his girlfriend, Jill said losing Jason hurt worse than cancer. But even through that hurt, she kept helping others. Her books still sell. The money still goes to good places. Her voice still reaches people. After she died, her private letters showed something surprising. She had forgiven David McCallum, her first husband, for everything. He had changed when he got famous. He became cold. Their home felt like two strangers in one house. Their divorce hurt her a lot. But in her will, she wrote that she forgave him. That's why later McCallum said he never hated Bronson. He called him a good friend. That forgiveness ended the last hurt in her life. 1 year after she died in 1991, NBC put out Reason for Living, the Jill Ireland story. It showed the pain, the addiction, the cancer, but also the love, the real love. Not Hollywood fake stuff, not pretend romance, but real stubborn, messy, heartbreaking, strong love. The kind that lasts through chemo, death, and even years of quiet. It was based on her book. It told the story of how one woman and one man faced everything the world threw at them and still held hands in the dark.